No, Chris isn't coming. I'm assuming Dennis isn't coming. Usually he sends me a text or an email, and he didn't.
But Charlie doesn't think he's coming.
Well, maybe he'll come late. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay. Okay, Wendy, would you please call the roll?
Council President Paul M. Rogers.
Here.
Vice President Thomas P. Welch III.
Here.
Counselor Peter D.
Here.
Honerton Sr. Counselor Christopher M. Logan. Counselor Charles R. Roberts.
Here.
Counselor Dennis B. Tarano. Counselor Barbara A. Von Billis. Here. We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to get started with the executive session. So once I read it in, we'll ask everyone to leave the room that's not part of the executive session until we get through it. So number one is executive session pursuant to provisions of Rhode Island General Law, sections 4246(2), 4246(4), and 4246(5)(a). 5, land acquisition, West Main Road. 5, land acquisition. 5, land acquisition, 351 East Main Road. 1, personnel, town administrator. 1, personnel, fire chief. 1, personnel, deputy finance director. 1, personnel, health services coordinator, and 2, potential litigation.
Motion to recess open session, reconvene in executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everyone.
In an open session.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve the utility and access easement between Space Town LLC and the town of Middletown and authorize the town administrator to execute the easement on behalf of the town.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve the salary and ratify the appointment of Liz Rogers as the deputy finance director.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve the salary and ratify the appointment of Carmela Gear as a health services coordinator.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to seal the executive session minutes pursuant to section 4246(7) of Rhode Island General Law.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Just had to clean up some executive session stuff. Let's get going on the regular meeting, which would be the town updates, which we can do. It's been advertised to immediately following executive session. So number 2 is the town administrator provide an update on town projects, school building project, library project.
Motion to begin the town project, school building project, and library building project updates.
All in favor? Aye. Ed,
How we doing?
how you doing?
We're doing great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
What do you have for us?
So library construction has started, is moving very rapidly. Most of the interior framing is done. We've pulled the fiber optic cable from inside the building. We have it across the road. That's going to make its way to town hall, which will tie the library into the existing system. All the floor cutting has been completed. The trenches have been filled. Sprinkler work has started this week. Electrical rough-in is underway. The furniture bids, we opened them on July 29th. They came back very favorably. So we're in good shape when it comes to that. We're just revising a few numbers. Hopefully that'll be in front of you, maybe next meeting to approve that. But that's all in good shape. Again, the project probably has a 5-month timeline. So we are in that timeline. The budget, we are still in budget with the basis of design. And what I mean by that is the plans that we submitted to OLIS to get approved, we're in budget for that. But as you know, we've been receiving grants and funding and donations and everything, which has increased the budget with no increase to the allocations or the requests from the the town. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
So the budget's gone up, but it's been balanced by the donations and everything. So we're still in very good shape with that. And that's where we are in the library.
So are the donations, would it be fair to say that those donations allowed us to do some things we didn't plan on doing?
Absolutely. So one of the main things was we had, you probably, if you remember, I was in front of you during the CIP things and I was outlining the replacement of the rooftop units for the CIP. Well, we have funding for that. That'll be removed from the CIP. The other thing is The front entrance was something that most of us wanted to do. The funding wasn't there. It was a nice to have, so we have the funding for that. We're revisiting that, and we're going back and we're doubling up on the sound mitigation and sound system in the building, which is another good thing. And there's some other little things floating around. But yeah,
And the sound mitigation, doubling up on it is because of a lot of the roofing is going to be open.
it is. So there was an original design that had the sound mitigation based on the original rooftop units. We were told that if we replaced them with new ones, that could go away. But what we found out was we have the design and we're replacing those units, but we still need that. And we're probably going to also install a sound masking system, which helps nullify or void out some unwanted noises that may be happening in the library. So what we're trying to make sure is that other than people coming in and saying, hey, I want to donate my money and it needs to be for the children's space and I want to do that, we're trying to make sure that when these large donations come in, they're being applied to things that will enhance the services of the library. So not I wants, I needs, or nice, and they're going to enhance the building. So it's been a back and forth on that, but I think we're in a good place.
Well, we're balancing the necessaries versus the nice to haves.
Yeah, we want to make sure that when we're getting this money, it's going to make an impact on the building, right?
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we're enhancing services and we're adding things that will enable us to provide better services or expand the services. Not
Well,
just,
when you look at the building, you look at the entrance has always kind of been a sticking point for me because
Yeah.
when you look at the entrance, it looks nice,
Hmm.
but it's not practical enough for, I think, me personally, I think it should have a double door. I'm sure that whatever they come back with,
they are, it could definitely be a little bit more inviting than what it is. It's off to an angle. It's not a direct shot. So that was one of the things. It was like a priority. Obviously, the rooftop units was number one.
right,
The front entrance was second, and then on from there.
okay.
Okay, new high school, middle school, excavation, installation, and backfilling of the new water main is progressing in the north driveway. The finished masonry is progressing around Building A. You can start to get a good look of what the outside of the building's going to look like. The color block, some of the custom cut block is all going up. Roofing work is now on Building C. Fireproofing continues in the stairwells. Exterior framing is finishing up on Buildings A, B, and D. Most of the sheathing is done other than maybe around the gym area. Fire protection, HVAC is progressing in all buildings. Most of the ductwork is up. Most of the refrigerant lines are up. A lot of the condensing units have been replaced on the roof. We're still waiting for the rooftop units, the air exchange units to be put up there. The electrical is starting for the disconnects for those units. And everything's kind of progressing rapidly right now. So you might be close to 200 people on the job every day right now. So that's moving along. We're just finishing up the furniture bid, some fine touches. Hopefully that goes out in early September. Again, that's in a great position. So we're good to go. We're also having constant conversations with the school department, with the superintendent about gearing up for moving and how that's going to take place. We have a draft moving plan that we're circulating now with the superintendent and the staff. We'll address the staff on opening day, and then we'll continually work with the teachers and everything throughout the year, addressing concerns and making that happen.
Okay.
And again, on time, on budget.
Excellent.
The Valley School Elementary the roof over the mechanical wing is almost complete. You'll see they're starting the roof on the cafeteria and the gymnasium. Painting of both the caf and the gym is in progress. Door replacement on the upper wing is still in progress. Electrical rough is continuing in the nurse's room, bathrooms, and some of the specialty rooms. We're also working on the fire alarm system. The sprinkler mains and the secondary lines have all been completed in the gym. The sprinkler mains are probably 80% done in the main building. You're going to walk in there now and see these sprinkler mains from the ceiling, which wasn't there before. So it's kind of like the first look, it's a little bit of a different look on that. So you're going to start seeing all that. Work is continuing on the elevator shaft. Plumbing line for the new bathrooms are being installed. And furniture bid is scheduled to go out early September, along with the playground. So we're in good shape on that too. And again, on time, on budget.
So Ed, with the Valley Elementary, So what do we have? What do you have? 3 weeks to wrap things up before school or 2 weeks?
Yeah, so, we've done a really good job. Yeah, so the two elementary schools have already been cleaned. Right now, we're in Gaudet. Gaudet had all our summer programming. We'll need 10 days to clean that, then the entire staff will go to the high school and clean it the last week or two before school gets out. So believe it or not, we're in unbelievable shape of getting that ready. Bentley understands that. We're gonna allow them as much time as possible to finish up what they're doing before we get them out of there. It's just beneficial for everybody. But we are extremely confident, no matter what that day is, we're gonna be able to go and turn that building around quick.
So from a safety perspective, things will be in order and wrapped up.
Absolutely.
when it-
Yeah, they feel they're a week ahead of where they thought they would be. So they may be pulling out, I'm saying that cautiously. They may be pulling out a little earlier than that.
Anybody have any questions?
Keep it going.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's move on to number 3, memorandum of town administrator in reference to owner change order 007 Middletown Middle High School project. The council action tonight is to receive the change order.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to receive. Sean?
Oh, so this was a little bit of a snafu with the project team. We had a number of change orders that came through. One of them was change order 7 because of the summer meeting schedule and the need to get the work done. This change order was approved. Our normal process is something over $100,000. It goes through myself, Billy. Actually, no, over $100,000 it needs to come to you. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that in this case because this is the work that's necessary to pull the utilities through what was formerly the drive-in's driveway. We got the approval from DEM a little bit late, but we needed to not stop work because we need to pull the utilities up the driveway to the new building in order to have it fully encapsulated and basically be able to heat it this fall. That's where the timeline was. So we executed this out of the normal authorization period. I had sent you an email, but it's on the docket just so that the public's aware of it and that you receive it and there's an official record. So again, it's the timing from DEM and that wetlands application. And the main thing I think we're working for, and I don't know if Ed can answer better questions about it, but we need to be able to heat that building, come this fall so that we can complete the work over the winter.
Okay. Any councilors have any questions? Comments? Okay, so we have a motion and a second to receive. All in favor? Aye. Number 4, memorandum of finance director through town administrator in reference to library renovation project donation/grants.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
Second.
Motion is second to receive. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sean? Or Mark, rather. Sorry.
The excellent finance director.
The excellent finance director.
Good evening, Mr.
That's
President,
correct.
members of the council. I'm pleased to bring forward 4,000 of contributions and donations for the library construction project. At the July 15th meeting of the Library Building Committee, the committee voted to recommend to the town council to accept these donations, 3,000 from the John Clark Trust and 1,000 from other donations. John Clark Trust is restricted to the children's learning and play area. And the 1,000 is for general purpose. So we are recommending that the council approve the enclosed resolution accepting the donation from the Friends of the Middletown Library as part of the library construction project.
Okay. Any questions of Mark? Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
We'll move to number 5, the resolution of the council in reference to town council hereby accepts the donation of $4,000 from the Friends of the Middletown Public Library. The funds to be designated and applied in accordance with our donor intent, $3,000 for the children's learning and play area, 1,000 for general project purposes, and the finance director is authorized to hereby allocate and expend said funds in accordance with all town purchasing policies and procedures.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
Motion is second to pass. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, let's move on to presentations. Number 6, submission from Gregory Hewitt, Citizens Memorial Committee, reference to Town Middletown Memorial and recognition of distinguished veterans and citizens policy. Council action tonight is to approve proposed policy.
Motion to begin said presentation.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to begin. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, Mr. Hewitt.
Good evening, Gregory Hewitt, 25 Olives Way. I'm here to brief you on the Memorial Committee's efforts to update the town's memorial policy. Committee has worked extremely hard on this policy for over the last 2 years, and as chair, I would like to publicly acknowledge their hard work. Slide, please. The goal of the committee was to simplify the application process. The new policy outlines a step-by-step guide to each type of memorial, tree memorials, bench memorials, and provides guidance for authorized locations for the placement of memorials. Slide, please.
I'll give you the nod, Nate.
Repeat what I just said? Oh, I'm sorry. Next slide.
Yeah,
please.
they're not the official clickers, Greg.
In addition to the changes I've already mentioned, the incorporation of the Distinguished Citizen and Distinguished Veteran Program into this policy is the most significant change. Committee was asked to incorporate this program into the memorial policy by the town administrator. Although the steps in the approval process were unchanged, the new policy provides greater clarity to each step in the process. Current policy is 3 pages long. The proposed policy is 14 pages, and a lot of that's attachments. Next slide, please. The committee developed the criteria for the distinguished veteran nomination with veteran input. And please note on this slide, the second bullet should end after have benefited the residents of Middletown, and the end of that sentence beginning with veteran recommendation should be a separate bullet. It was a typo. Next slide, please. Committee also developed the criteria for the distinguished citizens nomination. Next slide, please. The nomination process will be initiated by the town clerk. The nomination timeline process is set up so that the distinguished citizen would be recognized near the 4th of July and a distinguished veteran during or near Veterans Day. The proposed policy ensures the capture of historical information by establishing an electronic version of the honor roll selectees through the display on the town's homepage, and provides guidance for the public display of all honor roll selectees at a location deemed appropriate by the town. That concludes my presentation. Any questions you have?
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Peter?
Just a couple of housekeeping things I just noticed. On page 3, phase 2, and page 3, phase 3, and you allude to it in further different names. It should be the tree commission, not tree committee, that area. And I'm just, my ignorance, but currently the policy, is it open year round, or is it just set the times of year?
Whenever-
Does it change?
Whenever the town gets a feasibility application, town clerk lets us know, and we have the committee meets.
I'm sorry, Greg, say that again.
Whenever the town clerk gets a feasibility application.
Yep.
Town clerk lets us know, and then we have a committee meeting.
That's the way it's currently done? And you're
And that'll
looking,
be the same way.
okay, so it is allowed year round or specific times?
Are you talking about the application for
Yes.
memorials?
application.
That's year round.
Then the other question I had, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, it seemed like there could be competitiveness between nominations if you have more than one.
You could have more than one.
But there's a
So-
scoring system though, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
The scoring system will determine,
I get that, but I'm just like, what's the premise for that?
So based on this policy, town clerk would send out notification and it's set in the timeline so that you can meet those timelines that I mentioned. And then people would send applications in, nomination packages in, and that'd be reviewed by the committee.
But I'm just saying, you could have multiple people that meet the minimum criteria, but not all of them wouldn't be approved?
No, the way the policy reads, we don't have to approve any of them. And the ones that committee would only do one per year.
I was just wondering the reason for that limiting factor in there. Meaning, it's like if you had a memorial, like you had a park bench in one of the parks, and then you had another memorial, a park bench in another park.
Oh, so
How are they competing? I don't-
So there's two parts to this. The distinguished veteran and
Yep.
distinguished citizen is one portion, and that's through the nomination process. The feasibility application
Yep.
is for benches, trees, anything like that.
I was just trying to understand it better.
Yeah, they're two different. It used to be just the distinguished citizen and distinguished veterans were not part of this program. That's why we added those in.
Good, I think that's all I had. Thank you.
any of the councils have any other questions? So, nice job, by you and your team. It was interesting looking at, you know, you gotta get at least 20 points to be able to be nominated or to make the cut, so to speak, and it's nice how they lay it out for each of the 5 categories, so I think I think the bar is set high, which I think is a good thing. You know, I give you guys kudos for that because, when I read through it overall, it's just a nice revised policy. And it makes sense. Not that the other one didn't, but this one's a little bit more in depth. And how you broke it down like that. So I think it's really, really
Try
good.
to make it easier for the residents to understand.
Yep.
What the process was.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Nice job, Greg. Thank you. Okay.
Motion,
Carl,
motion to approve said memorial in recognition of distinguished veterans and citizens policy.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to receive. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Thank you again. Okay, let's move on to the regular meeting. Before we do that, though, we're gonna have a moment of silence. We've lost 4 members of our community, recently. We lost, Betty Mello, who was the, family of the wife of, Bobby Mello, the mother of, a lot of the Mello family, John and his siblings, who's our solicitor, engineer. And we also lost Roland Chase. Roland was an assistant town solicitor at one point and had a lot to do with a lot of zoning and planning over the years for the town. When I first started as a counselor, Roland was involved. And then we lost Alicia Hicks, who was, her maiden name is Augustus, one of the Augustus families. Alicia's a longtime employee of the school department and lived right up here on Aquinic Ave. Grew up by Berkeley School, Berkeley Court. And also Bob Hanley's dad recently passed away, so Public Works Director's dad. So we just want to take a moment of silence for those folks, and it would certainly be appreciated. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move to the public forum. Number 7, pursuant to rules of the council, Rule 25 of the council, citizens may address the town on one subject only. Said subject of substantive town business neither discussed during the regular meeting nor related to personnel or job performance. Citizens may speak for no longer than 5 minutes and must submit a public participation form to the council clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Any items discussed during the session will not be voted upon, okay? So we do have one, Kim. Kim Blass.
Oh, please, Gar.
Good evening, council. I have two things tonight. First, wanted to know if anybody can tell me about the sinkhole on Green End Avenue. I don't have the dates, but since they paved this road, there has been 3 sinkholes. At 6:30 in the morning, the hole was big enough that my husband had to stop short and go around in the other lane to avoid damaging our car. When he returned at 5 o'clock, it was just paved over. Since then, there have been 2 other times this occurred, same time and fixed the same day. I just wanted to know what's going on with this spot, and is Green End Avenue safe for our residents?
Okay, so this is the first I'm hearing of any sinkhole.
Okay,
It's good that the Public Works, I'm sure that's who responded in a pretty quick fashion. It sounds like Kim. That's all I really know based
Okay.
upon what you're saying tonight. I don't know if Sean has any.
I don't know about a sinkhole. So where is it located on a Green End Avenue?
so when you go up Green End Avenue, when you go up the hill,
Wait.
just before you turn on.
But which hill? Like, it goes across half the town?
I'm sorry. Coming from Valley Road and you're going up the hill on Green.
So if you take a left on a Green End heading towards 7-Eleven,
No.
or you're going the other way
This-
around the pond,
Yes, right by the
oh,
pond.
where it splits, you go to the left, okay?
Go up. And you're going up the hill and you're going, just before you hit the curve, right there, there has been a sinkhole 3 times. And my husband said it's just not a little sinkhole. I mean, it was a big sinkhole where he stopped and had to go around. And he said if he didn't stop, he would have went into it. So I'm just wondering, I know they had the damage with the water. I know the water came down the hill. I know we had the big rainstorm. But he came home at 5 o'clock and he thought, they would have dug it up again or done something. They just paved it over. So it's happened twice again. And I'm just wondering what's going on in that spot, or do they know what's going on in that spot? Cause they just paved it over. So I don't know what's underneath there.
So they probably just filled it with patch would be my guess.
Oh, well, I'm sure they did.
Yeah, so
Is it safe? Is it gonna sink again?
I'm not sure any of us know. That's the first we're hearing of it tonight.
I don't know.
So we'll find out about it,
Okay,
Kim.
so
Yeah,
good. If somebody can get back
Yep.
with me, I would
Sure.
appreciate that.
that's a Sean to do.
Number 2, item number 14 tonight on Affordable Housing Committee.
We can't talk about any items.
Oh, I
Okay,
know, I know.
Okay.
And I know it's, will be addressed tonight, but I just have a short comment on it.
we can't talk about it if it's on the docket.
Oh, I can't say,
Oh.
You can come back up again.
oh, I
I
can.
have a
Yes,
sheet.
on item 14, but not during the public forum. Kim.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, do we have anyone else? No, okay. Nobody on Zoom. Thank you, Wendy. Okay, let's move on to consent. Is there any councils want to remove any items? of consent?
14.
Number
She wants to speak. We got to bring it
number
up.
14.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Or are you going to speak too or no?
Number of people that want to speak on.
All right, so 14's off the consent calendar.
Yep.
Okay, Tom,
Is that it?
but hang on. Sorry. Peter, anybody else? Barbara, no? Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask one question? Like all the other ones here that are kind of about the committees and stuff, we are just
We're
receiving.
just
them.
receiving those tonight. They'll be on the September docket.
Yes.
Right, so the council had asked Wendy and I to go through all of the committees, and that's what's encompassed in the memos that are submitted.
Yep.
You're receiving them tonight on the consent calendar to schedule them for discussion on September 21st. And the purpose of that was so that the community, the council, the committees had a chance to review the memos so that you could have a comprehensive discussion on the 21st. We just didn't want to run into, I didn't have a chance to review it. We just saw this. Everyone will have a month to consider it. So that's why they're on consent. And that's when we would be prepared to discuss those with you. So
Okay.
Motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve minus item 14. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Number 14 is memorandum of town administrator, reference to Affordable Housing Committee. The council action to receive and discuss at the regular meeting of the council on September 21st, 2026.
Motion to receive said memorandum and continue said item for discussion at the September 21st, 2026 regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We do have some folks who'd like to speak on this. Kim, if you want to come back up, and if I knew you were going to be next, I would have just asked you to stay there, but we get a little exercise in, you know, what are you going to do?
Let's see. I just wanted to make a short comment. I agree with Mr. Brown in renaming to the Middletown Housing Committee. When I joined this committee in 2021, it was called Senior Affordable Housing and Family Affordable Housing Committee. Please keep in mind that our committee and what Mr. Brown is recommending is what the Affordable Housing Committee has worked on since I was elected in 2021. And we will continue to work on all of these recommendations in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, Mr. Frank.
Lawrence Frank, 8 O'Donnell Road. A while ago, Frank Spinella, the Affordable Housing Committee consultant, said this about our committee. You having this committee is actually working because you're seeing now affordable housing proposals coming from the private sector. You are spurring that housing by just having discussions. The fact they're coming to you where there were no proposals for any development months ago. According to the town website, the charge to the Affordable Housing Committee is this. The Middletown Affordable Housing Committee is a volunteer group tasked with finding ways to help living in the community more financially viable for younger people, elderly, and families. That's a total of only 29 words, but it's pretty comprehensive. This evening, you are presented with a proposal, a new charge to the AHC. It runs over 200 words. Town Administrator Sean Brown's proposal was created without any conversations or consultations with the AHC. Mr. Brown's proposal was put on tonight's docket without informing the AHC that it would be offered. As for the proposal itself, much of what is being proposed is already part of the AHC's current activity. We have been and will continue to look at a wide range of ideas, address multiple issues relating to housing at all income levels, and will unceasingly advocate for housing policies that address a diverse population that will make up Middletown's future. There is one item in the proposal that is of concern. Item 5 states, the AHC, quote, will provide recommendations to the town council when requested. Why should Mr. Brown want to prevent the AHC from addressing any issue that relates to housing? Why should the AHC need permission from Mr. Brown to address issues that will affect Middletown's future? Item 5 of this proposal should be removed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Okay,
Mr. President, can I?
Yeah.
Again, all of these recommendations, which are related to every committee in the town, were submitted again so that yourself and the committees had a chance to look at these and there could be discussion between now and the second meeting in September. So there is no agenda item on my own behalf to do anything that doesn't involve input from the committees or not. So again, bringing these forward as the council asked the clerk and myself to review them. As far as the comment in number 5, and I can't find the page. I think that's a comment that I've included in a number of the committees, and that simply is not to make the committee accountable to me to direct their work. It's to identify that these are committees that are advisory to the town council. And they're a little bit different than committees like the planning board or the conservation committee, which has authority under state statute. But these are committees that you form, and historically how they conducted themselves as they are advisory to the town council. Without going through them in detail, I think in several cases where we've made changes or proposed changes, that advisory piece has been inserted there. And there's language similar to Article 5, but I don't want the tenor of Mr. Frank to suggest that I seek to control the committee. That's not what I want to do. I have no desire to. The committees on work on items, I think of my last interaction with the housing committee. My responsibility is to make sure the committee conducts itself properly, but not to interfere in the decisions that they're making. So I think that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
Mark Donahue, 600 Green End Avenue. You already heard from Mr. Frank and Ms. Blast, two of my colleagues on the Affordable Housing Committee. So I think it said, at first when I saw this, and now that I understand, this is just accepting it, and then we've got a meeting later this week. We might want to change our agenda and put this on our agenda to discuss the item so we can give you some good feedback. But that was my biggest concern. I'm also a member of the Beach Commission, so that had significant changes on it. None of us knew any of this was coming. I do remember the meeting where it came up. There was discussion about how many committees we have. Do we have too many? Who should represent? So I understand the genesis of it, and it makes sense. But I was worried that there wasn't going to be input from the volunteer committees that are out there. And I see that's not the case. So
No,
that's all I have.
Not at all. So we got about a month and a half to, we probably have another meeting again.
Yeah.
We probably have 2 affordable housing,
Mhm.
based on the history of schedules that you keep at the beginning of the month. So the
Right.
time to do that, and, you see anything you don't like, come back and we
Great.
figure it out. As a team, we'll resolve it.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay?
you.
All right. Okay, so we have a motion to second to receive. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to number 28. I like that jump. Okay. So license permits application for a special event permit for the Neil Sharma and Badha Patel for the Sharma Patel Wedding Barat private wedding procession to be held at Newport Beach House. The wedding guests will process from the main parking lot onto the roadway and enter into the opposite parking lot, continuing into the rear of the building on Saturday, September 12th, 2026 at 5:30 PM.
Motion to grant said special event permit.
Second.
So in all of my time on the council, I'm not sure I've ever, this is pretty cool. I'm sure it's a cultural thing, which is neat. And Wendy, they've met all the police requirements. I'm sure that, because sometimes depending upon if it's a nice night, because it's still right after Labor Day, it's the week after Labor Day, sometimes the traffic there can be a little bit heavy. I'm sure the details I saw, and as far as police detail and whatever, excellent. That'll be pretty cool. All right, excellent. No, that's part of the consent calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, we have a motion, a second to grant. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Number 29, application for special event permit for Sitta Bruzzi for Water Brothers Pro 3 surfing competition to be held at Second Beach Surfers End on either Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, or Sunday, October 4th, 2026. The dates based on surf condition and request for wave window for Saturday, October 17th, 2026, or Sunday, October 18th, 2026.
Motion to grant said special event permit.
Second.
I like the language, the wave window.
I
They need
that
some
too.
surf there, obviously, so that's pretty cool. So we have a motion to second to grant. Is there any conversation? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Number 30, application of Ivan Quinones, DBA Backyard Butchers, Alvin, Texas, for a peddler's license for the 2026-2027 licensing year.
Motion to grant said license.
Second.
We have a motion to second to grant. So my question is this, like, I see, sometimes these trucks pull up and they're selling, hey, you can get 4 ribeyes for $15 or $20. Is that what this is?
That's what this is.
So do you know where they're gonna be, or they have to be in a certain area?
Well, RK Associates has given them permission to go there, so they have to give us a letter from them.
So
showing
that's in
us
the
that-
plaza where, the sushi place is and McDonald's here right next door and, okay.
Have to give us a copy of what they parked there without showing us that they have that permission.
Did we have that first?
Before we issue, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So
And
that's
you know that.
contingent on that?
Yes,
But
that's.
that's not what the
contingent.
motion says.
I know, but
You sure? Okay. All right, just checking.
it's for, really for every license.
Okay.
Make sure that they have what, copy of all their truck information.
Okay. It's not often we get requests from Alvin, Texas. Okay, excellent. Okay,
I have a question on it.
yes, Charlie.
So you bring up a good point, like, is this this is only one location and he's not doing door-to-door solicitation?
No, he
They
can't
used
do
to scare us kids when they'd come to the door and say, do you want to buy some steaks? Yeah.
that. Right.
Thank you.
Right. He cannot do that.
All right, so we have a motion to second to grant. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, anybody opposed? Town Council Business Number 31, memorandum of myself in reference to regionalization.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
We have motion second to receive, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so I put this on because we had some discussion in executive in the past about whether there's any, a will to move forward at this point in time, given circumstances that have evolved over the past 6 or 8 months with the city of Newport. So, and I'm not slamming Newport, things change. And so I think that the council had, I just want to talk about it publicly and not leave everybody hanging out there on this subject. I was pretty passionate about it. I still am. It's just, I think the timing of it at this point in time, based on discussion with counselors, is that there's not a will to move forward. Pretty large debt down there, some uncertainty down there at this point in time. So just a timing issue. Maybe in the future, another council might want to tackle this. But I did want to make sure that it was public and that we talked about it. And so I don't know if any other counselors have any other comments or questions, Charlie?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mr. President. First, I just want to state publicly that I was cleared from the Rhode Island Ethics, so I can speak on this. There was some accusations out there, and so if you want to look at it, it's Ethics Advisory Opinion 2026-16. It's allowed me to speak here tonight. With that, I feel the same way as many of our other counselors here. Like right now, things have changed a lot. I still think we should have discussions with Newport about how we work together. It got brought up in a lot of our regionalization meetings in the past. Like there's other methods to do this. And I hope our school committee can do that with the Newport School Committee. I think there's a way we can help each other as being good neighbors. I've stated many times, I want the voters to decide this. But we've also stuck up for this town too, I think, this council, when it's come to Newport wanting to push this. They really wanted to push this, get us on the ballot. My colleagues up here, we pushed back and said, we're not ready. So I think that's how I feel. I'm always open to having discussions. You run into people all the time in Newport that grew up together. And I think eventually it's going to happen. I'd rather control it. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think just to piggyback that a little bit, I think it's important that at this point in time, given the circumstances that, look, we're opening up a new school. Let's get our schools opened up. Let's start our new CTE programs that our superintendent has initiated and is putting in place. And again, who knows down the road, maybe things improve in Newport financially and academically, and then we start having discussions. But because the whole idea was to look at, down the road in the future when you're making I can't even say the word. I'm worse. So, anyway, generalization decisions. No, that's not the word, but anyway, so, the point is that, you know, you gotta continue to have a seat at the table at some point in time. And you always want to make sure you have a good relationship, whether things work out or they don't. And because things may change. I think, I personally think our enrollment's probably going to go up with this new school. Um, you know, we had somebody in front of us tonight telling us that may move to Middletown and they want their child to go to this school and they don't live in this town. So we'll see what happens, but I think the right thing at this point in time is to get our schools open. We're having fantastic results. And I was talking to somebody the other day from the school side, and those results, we may end up with 2 4-star schools. Who knows? So as we continue to improve, again, to me, it's just a timing issue, but I just wanted to make sure that it was brought to public and that we had the discussion. Okay? Having said that, is there any further discussion or conversation? Tom?
I have no interest at this time in pursuing regionalization with Newport.
Okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we are not moving forward. I did have a discussion. I did call the mayor a couple of weeks ago, and after our meeting in July, and I had a conversation with him, letting him know that at that point in time, there's no desire to move this topic forward. Maybe down the road, who knows? But just wanted to get out in the public. So thank you for hearing us, and thank you for understanding, hopefully. So, okay, let's move on to number 32, which is the resolution of the council in reference to establishing the school zone safety special revenue fund.
Motion to pass said resolution?
Sean?
At our last council meeting, there was a proposal that the council approved to set aside dollars to add to a special revenue fund from the penalties for speeding through the school zones. So there's 2 items on the docket tonight that the finance director and I worked on. One is the establishment of the fund that would hold those proceeds, and it details how those dollars would be spent. And then the second item is a resolution that would actually set aside the dollars as they come in. So those are the 2 resolutions that are before you this evening.
Yeah, so we have this resolution, the next one, 33. One of the things came out of this whole school zone speeding fines were, you know, maybe you guys should take the money and either put it into safety or put it into roads. And that's what we're doing. We're going to put it into school safety so that, you know, we can improve. We have flashing lights coming that just recently got approved, I believe, from the state.
Yes, so the State Traffic Commission approved the lights on Valley Road. And talking with the Public Works Director last week, we should be receiving the equipment this week. So they will, if everything goes along to plan, they will be well installed before the school year starts.
So do we send out, so with school starting when does school start? Is it the end of August or end of August? So is there any way we can notify the residents that, hey, this school camera is going to be in effect again? I know there's 4 signs each way and you can't miss them. I know that there's a flashing light there.
We sent out a lot of social media about this, and we'll continue to do that when the lights go live. So.
Okay. I just want to make sure residents understand that, you know, you have to go, the reason why all the tickets say 31, because that's when it triggers the ticket. Anything over, or when you hit 31 miles per hour, you'll get a ticket. You know, so if it's 20, they're giving you 10 miles an hour over to say, okay, you can go 30. I'm not saying to go 30. I'm saying to go the speed limit, but we all do it. Sometimes you're looking down and next thing you know, you're doing 28 or 30 or 35 and you're like, oh, let's slow down. So I just want to make sure that, you know, that message gets out there because, you know, it's a short summer season and it seems like they just turned off, but in 3 weeks they're going to turn on again. And I want to make sure that residents are aware of that. Okay. Charlie.
Thank you, Mr. President. The yellow flashing lights, do we have the ability to turn them on during the whole period now?
Correct.
Till 6 PM, right? I think people should know that. That was another thing people were.
Yes, so
Okay.
it will be through 6 PM. And then the other improvement that the council approved, which should be implemented before the school year, will be able to control all of those lights essentially from Public Works. We won't be relying, right now, there was a hodgepodge of systems.
Yep.
So different people had to do different things in order to update the time and things like that. So now that will be modernized and you'll be able to do that from a central server so that every set of lights is operating in accordance with what the law and what drivers are expecting. And then also at St. George's, that light will change from a speed feedback sign to a school zone sign. So that's the other change that will take place.
Okay. Any further conversation? Okay, we have a motion a second to pass the resolution establishing the school zone safety special revenue fund. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Number 33, resolution of the council dedicating a portion of the school zone speed camera program revenues to the school zone safety special revenue fund for fiscal year 2027.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
A motion a second to pass. And Sean, how much is that per? We know?
No, because it's $20 per ticket.
Right.
So it's $20 per ticket and then I hope it's zero. I hope everyone.
I do too.
So that's where I'm at with that. So.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure folks knew that of that amount of the ticket, $20 will go to this dedicated to the school zone speed camera revenue.
Correct.
School zone safety special revenue fund. So, okay. Any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, number 34, town administrator portion of the docket. Number 34 is memorandum of town engineer through town administrator in reference to FLAP, grant design and construction funding.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
Second.
We have a motion a second to receive. All in favor? Aye, and we'll move right into the resolution. Number 35 is continued from July 6, 2026 regular meeting. Resolution of the council in reference to the council accepts a grant awarded from the Federal Lands Access Program, FLAP, that's what FLAP stands for the amount of up to $250,000 for the raising of the road on Third Beach Road bordering the Satuous Point Wildlife Refuge. The town allocates up to $70,500 in 0 cents from the Parks and Recreation Fund, which is the beach capital replenishment, as part of the match requirement for the FLAP grant, and authorizes the town administrator to execute said agreement on behalf of the town once the agreement becomes available.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
Okay, let's talk about this. So last time we talked about it, we just wanted to make sure and identify which piece of land, road you're talking about, and that we actually own that piece of land, that piece of road, that section of road, and why we're doing this.
You want to start?
Sure. So we went back and took a look at the record. So there's a plan here, and John Mello can correct me if I'm incorrect here. That's basically, I think it's the larger circle, essentially showing the area of the road that would be raised. The town owned the road up to basically where the old Navy Beach was, just to really the south of where the culvert is located. And then when the Third Beach property was purchased by the Bird Sanctuary in 2003, the records indicated the town had contributed, looks like about $300,000 towards the purchase of that property. And in exchange, got certain rights, including use of the beach and an agreement that the rest of that roadway would be conveyed to the town. So this is an agreement that was recorded. I did take a look at it. It doesn't look like, other than the agreement being recorded, there was an actual deed to the road. So Sean and I are going to be following up with the Bird Sanctuary because I would prefer to see it transferred by a formal deed rather than by the recording of the agreement. But essentially, the roadway is ours. And since that period of time, the town has been treating it, or we've been maintaining it, and everything that we would with the rest of our public roads. So. We are improving essentially our own road here.
So what section, I just want to make sure everybody's clear on what section it is. So it's from,
Clarify exactly what.
Yeah, Norman Bird Sanctuary driveway and just north of the town beach park, just south of the town beach parking lot. So it's about 1,200 feet in that section across from the town beach.
so does that, so like where Peabody's Beach or where Tom Haggerty owns, is it,
South of that,
so it's just south of that
yeah,
to the town parking lot, the residence
just
parking?
past the town parking lot.
Or the old
Almost
fork?
to the new three-way intersection.
Okay.
And I
And what's
believe-
the purpose of raising that road,
So
Jim?
it's a resiliency grant, is to raise the road so that it would flood at a lesser frequency than it floods now during, storm events.
And I believe we're raising the parking lot too, right?
Well, we'll raise the entrance to the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The parking lot stays where it is, but if you recall, and I think it might have been 2018 or so, we raised the roadway between Second Beach Road, Purgatory Road, and where the new intersection is.
Right.
Because once again, that section of road was a couple of.
Yeah, it doesn't
sea
flood
level that was
anymore, right.
washing out. So this is to sort of continue that loop so that you've got access, because once again, that roadway is the only access you have to Satchos Point, to Third Beach. It's the only secondary access to Second Beach, so being able to maintain that.
So this project will take over right where that project ended, and it'll run all the way to the north to the end of, say, our property.
So who's gonna do this work? It has to go out to bid?
So Crossman is going to do the design if this moves forward, and then we'll go out to bid. Yeah, we estimate, between 220 and 250,000 for construction.
So that's what this grant is for?
That's what the grant is for. Right.
Okay.
And the 70 roughly covers the permitting, engineering, and survey.
Okay. So if we didn't have this grant, then we probably wouldn't raise this road. Is that fair to say?
So, the opportunity came along, and the Fed said, we have this grant program for property that's adjacent to federal lands. Are you interested? And we said, why not? Let's raise the road to match the grade in the other part of the road and keep it from flooding at at such a high frequency.
Will
And
that, will
and so
that,
we
co-
said, yeah.
will raising the road, would it cause flooding into the town resident parking lot, the gravel parking
Well,
lot?
so instead of the whole area flooding, the road will be the last area to flood, I guess,
Passable.
It'll be more passable, it'll be passable at a higher frequency than it is now during high storm events.
So the town portion will be passable, but to the north of that won't be
Well,
passable?
don't forget, the farther north you go, the higher the elevation.
Goes uphill.
Well, no, not only, where Peabody's is the low point.
I was gonna ask. About the park.
The low point is kind of where the culvert is, so we're definitely going to raise the road about a foot where the culvert is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not the engineer.
That's okay.
Right, okay. Tom,
No, I was just asking, same thing, the puddle that's right outside of Haggerty's that always forms right there. Yeah, that kind of sounds like where it's. ends.
Yeah, we're gonna start just past that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we really, there's a manhole there. There's an electrical manhole there, so we're gonna start just on the south side of that manhole.
has anybody
I mean,
approached?
that's kind of a conceptual plan. We could change,
Move it just a little bit.
yeah, we could move it a little bit, but we wanted to come up with some design or some concept so that you could approve it and we could apply for the grant. Now that we have the grant, we can go into design and maybe do survey, and maybe we can move the limit a little bit and get rid
So
of that.
has
buffer.
anybody approached Mr. Haggerty to see if he'd be interested
Not yet.
in his portion and the whole thing's done?
That's a good idea.
I mean, that's
Good
what I
idea.
would do.
Sure. We haven't yet.
What are we waiting for?
Well, the okay from you, so we can move
Okay.
forward with a
You
design.
don't
and
need
then
my
we can
okay to
contact
go.
them.
You don't need our okay to go talk to him. But anyway, okay. I think we should, Charlie.
John, in that map there, is the green line, is that federal land? Does that designate federal land?
Yeah, whole green area is on the federal.
So is this road, doesn't it go through that as well? No, it doesn't. It butts it. Okay. Yep. Because when Sandy wiped out that lower road, that was federal land, that they had the guard out there, I remember, not letting anybody in there. So they took care of all that, right?
They did.
Yeah.
And so now we're gonna do the other side. We'll raise the grade so it doesn't flood as often.
Thank you.
Is the council okay with asking Mr. Haggerty if he'd be interested in, that way the whole thing is potentially, I mean, all he can say is no, right? Or I mean, he might say yes.
He might want to do his section as well. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
you know, while they're mobilized there, who's ever gonna do it, you're gonna get he's gonna get a better price anyway.
Yep, that's right.
So, you don't think so?
Prevailing wage.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. But we can ask. I mean,
Can ask, it can't hurt to ask. Yeah. And then when the project happens, he can't say, you never asked me. And we will in fact have asked him.
You must have been reading my mind. So, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you, John. Okay, memorandum number 36 is the memorandum of finance director through the town administrator in reference to paving and utility repairs.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
We have a motion and a second to receive. All in favor? Aye. And we'll move into the resolution number 37, resolution of the council in reference to the bid for paving utility work is hereby awarded to DeAmber Construction Company Incorporated. Funding is from the CIP Special Revenue Fund, Paving and Drainage. $1,300,000 in Municipal Road and Bridge Revolving Fund Grant, $107,875. And the finance director is authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
We have a motion, a second to pass. We need some discussion on this and some explanation of exactly what we're talking about.
so.
This one we've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, so I think the one mostly we've been waiting for is Mitchell's Lane. It has been a red road for a long period of time. Annually, I tell you that we're postponing work on it because we want the golf course to be completed before, the golf course being the largest earth project, I think, that's been done in the town of Middletown. That work has been completed. Mitchell's Lane is one of the worst roads, if not the worst road in the town of Middletown right now. So it's time to pave it. The Public Works Department have done, you know, the required work to make sure we understand what's underneath the road to make the improvements. And that's where that recommendation comes from. I'm going to skip over the details. John can cover those. The other road that's been on the red road list, which needs to be addressed, which is also heavily traveled, is Jepson Lane. So that's the second road that's part of this bid package. I'll let John talk a little bit about the details. The project itself comes from the town's capital improvement program special revenue fund, $1.3 million. And then we also did receive a grant from the state of $108,000 that would additionally allow us to complete the project. So with that, I'll let John talk.
So we're going to go from East Main Road all the way to Wyatt Road, 7,205 feet or so. We're going to cold plane the road and repave it. With the exception of about 500 feet by the Healing Co-op, we're going to rip out the whole road, put some under drain in, build a new road base, and then repave it and grade it to the side and restore the swales so that that road is kind of above the water table and never gets wet feet. And then we have a culvert that goes across the road just to the south of the Healing Co-op. We're going to put a second pipe there at a higher elevation so that any water that gets in that swale will get out into the wetlands and keep that road dry going forward. So that's pretty much Mitchell's Lane, Jepson, all the way from Oliphant, all the way to the town line. And what we're going to do at the last 350 feet or so is just mill the 2 inches off that road because it's pretty new. And then we're going to repave that part with just a top coat. That's pretty much that on Jepson.
Tom,
I just have a question on Mitchell's Lane, where the gutters are right up against the edge of the road. What do you do about that?
So we haven't designed, that part of the drainage yet. We're pretty sure we're going to do that with the culverts and the swales. Pretty much going to stay the way it is in that lower section. We're going to try to, I really don't have an answer for that. We're going to keep it where it's at. We don't have much room between the edge of the pavement and the town line.
Right.
So we're just going to try to keep that the way it is and widen the road base just a little bit there. And we're going to, use crushed stone to get the road dry and get it across to the wetlands.
When we do our design, right, we're gonna hire somebody like Crossman Engineering or something like that.
Yeah.
And then how do we keep them accountable for their design, especially when it comes to water?
So Crossman will be on site the whole time the road's being rebuilt, and so will the town, Public Works and myself.
Okay.
And there are things we're gonna have to figure out as we go.
Yeah.
Once we dig up that section of road, we're gonna go there and say, okay, this is what we expected, or it is, let's do this, let's modify it this way. So that's how that's gonna be approached. Just, it's a very wet area of road, and we're trying to raise the road, but we've got driveways that we can't raise the road too much because of the driveways. We will raise the road about 3 or 4 inches from, say, East Main down to the first 1,000 feet or so, because all the driveways are higher and run down to the road. So we can raise the road there and get the road a little bit higher, a little bit further separation to the water table. But in that low area, we're pretty much set with driveways. So we're limited, but we're gonna figure it out as we go. I guarantee it'll be a better road when we're done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it will, but the longevity of the road, I think, is what the concern of everyone is, John. And again, we're not the engineer, you are. So we respect that, but by the Healing Co-op and by the town-owned land in that corner, the Lower Tibbets, I think it's called, right? It's pretty wet there.
Right.
And I'm not sure where that water could go. Do we ever think about maybe in the town property, building some type of larger retention pond? Because that water's gonna run off, because it's gonna go in the wetlands. It's got nowhere else to go.
So we have a pipe that goes across the road from west to east, near to the south of the Healing Co-op. We're gonna add a second pipe, and all that water that's coming out from under that road along the swale on the side of the road will get that way. And so we're gonna increase the capacity of that pipe under the road. And that should dry out the road even more, and we'll raise it just a little bit. But the 4 or 5 inches of stone under the road base and the geotextile fabric and the filter fabric will separate the road base from the stone. So now we're gonna have a drainage layer under the road, and that will significantly dry out that road profile.
Okay.
Just a different issue. So on the Tibbet side, you have wetlands, so disturbing the wetlands, you just can't put a pond in there and add to the wetlands, so there's a significant process you have to go through. But the other issue is with the conservation easements, there are restrictions on our ability to build a retention pond on those properties since they're protected. So
Yeah.
we have limitations in that regard too. But I think what John, has described, we have the one pipe that goes underneath the road right now. It does bring the water from the Tibbet side. It grabs, I guess in theory, some of the water from the area, and it gets it to the wetland that exists over, it sort of runs cross-country towards where Newport National used to have their golf trailer, bar, restaurant thing. So I think we're looking at improving the flow, outside of the pipe. But then, as John said, if we got a high water level, having that second pipe to move the water. So I think with some tweaks, we'll get there.
Yeah, because the worst thing that nobody wants is that, we put all that effort in and money into it, and then, in 15 years, we're replacing it, or it deteriorates because it didn't work. So I
So
think,
by putting the drainage layer under the road, we're gonna suck all the water from under the road base, so that really shouldn't happen for another 30 or 40 years. That will significantly dry out the road base. And
okay,
now, so we'll dry out the road base, and we're gonna add another pipe, so we have a place for it to go. So that will significantly improve the situation.
awesome. Okay. Well, I'm glad it's finally getting done. I know, Sean, you're right. We did defer that because of the golf course with all the heavy equipment coming in and out of there. We didn't want to do the new road, 3 years ago because we felt that with the construction of that side of the golf course, that it would damage the road. So it's been painful. Anybody that travels that road, knows it. So, but again, it's probably the worst road in town. I'm glad we're doing Jepson as well. The funding didn't allow us to do Beacon Terrace.
So I think it would have gone over our limit if we did Beacon Terrace. But Bob is looking to see if the state has a little bit more money because the price was good on Beacon Terrace. And if we can fit that in, we can issue a change order. We'd have to come before the council and say, hey, we have the money now. Can we award this change order to Danbury? That would be good if we could get that road done as well. That road is going to be a complete replacement. 15 inches excavated out, 12 inches of new base, and 4 inches of asphalt. So that'll be a brand new road system and some drainage, a little bit of drainage.
Roads that make me nervous are like Green and Avenue. Because that's a long road and that's gonna be a lot of money and that's coming up, I'm sure, within the next 5 to 10 years or less. It's parts of that. What is our strategy with, if there's there's a good section of it, can we go to just doing sections maybe?
You get it?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is actually, I've had conversations with Bob about this, about Elephant Lane. Like, I think I like this approach where do the whole road. Do it all one thing, because when you get in, and I'm not the expert on this, but I can tell you from experience, like those sections where it's patched like that on Elephant, it just, I don't know, it creates, to me, I see it creating more issues later on.
So Tom O'Loughlin came up with this plan. If you had a good road or a decent road and it had some bad sections, the idea was to replace the bad sections, maybe 100 to 200 feet. And that kind of added another, 10 or 15 years to the life of the whole road. So that's a good idea. But if you have patch after patch after patch throughout the whole road, then I agree, then replace.
Yeah,
the whole
I'm
road.
just saying, like,
Yeah.
because I know that we kind of took that approach in the past, because look, the 1.3, 1.4 million dollars in change here tonight, 20 years ago, you could probably do 3 or 4 more roads. Today, you can't. So we have to kind of think differently of what we can do, what's nice to do versus what's necessary to do. And if we can, get another 10 or 15 years out of a road, maybe we do that. I don't know. But I agree with that. I prefer to have it all done, but those dollars just don't spread that far anymore. So you got to kind of think outside the box a little bit, maybe get creative and,
Well, the good news is after this project, it'll be another 30 or 40 years before we have this conversation again on these 2 roads.
we won't be here to have that conversation. Okay. Well, maybe Shealy will, but that's about it. Okay. John, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And this is good news. So, okay, any further conversation? Hearing none, we have a motion to second to pass said resolution. All in favor? Aye. I looked up and you were looking at me and I thought maybe I was forgetting something. Okay, let's move on. Number 38, memorandum finance director to town administrator in reference to town hall and fire station / public works electronic access control system.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
We have a motion to second to receive. All in favor? Aye. And if you would, please, let's move to 39, the resolution on this. We'll have discussion. Resolution of the council in reference to the purchase installation of an electronic access control system at Town Hall and the Fire and Public Works Complex is hereby awarded to National Security Fire Alarm Systems of East Providence, Rhode Island. Funding for this purchase and installation will be from the CIP Special Revenue Fund, and the finance director is authorized hereby to execute said purchase on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
We have a motion to second to pass. Mr. Collins,
So
you
this-
could explain what's going on here in the big picture of things.
Okay, so this is a new card access system for the fire department, public works complex and town hall. This will all be in line with the same system being installed in the new school in the Valley Elementary and the Forest. So what it does, it provides our first providers one card access to all the buildings. So we're standardizing the systems across the town. Obviously, the $170 million school kind of drives the bus with that. So whatever system's in there, we're incorporating everywhere else. The good thing about this system is in a situation like the police department, they're very comfortable with their card access and everything like that. We can just go grab those fobs. We don't need to change anything there. So a good system is not just going and revamping everything. It's looking at what works for us, making sure we incorporate that in, and that's what we're doing. So the police department never needs to change. We can grab all their fobs and incorporate it into the system.
Okay. So it's 32,000 for the town hall.
Yep.
And 32,600 and 85,800 for the fire station public works, which is a total of 118. Right? Where's the 183 coming from?
The 185 is the budget in the CIP.
So that's what's budgeted?
Yeah, so we're favorable.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we were clear and that the, okay, because the resolution does say 118, but when I saw 185.
Yep.
It threw me off a little bit. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that. So thank you for clearing that up. Anybody have any questions or comments? I think it's pretty good how you're tying everything in with the same system. It makes total sense for access for fire, police. They can all, it's not different systems. Don't have to worry about it. Phone calls don't have to be made to get in. You can just present the badge or whatever it is, the card system, and be able to access any type of emergency, which is important.
And again, we're just not making changes just to make changes. The police department likes their system. They're very comfortable with it. They just upgraded it. So we needed to find a system that can incorporate that in there.
Right.
And this works out great.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ed. Any further conversation on the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Number 40 is memorandum of finance director through town administrator in reference to contract award for pest control services. This is a 3-year contract.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
We have a motion, a second to receive. We'll move to 41, resolution of the council in reference to, oh, did I say all in favor? I didn't. All in favor? Aye. I apologize, folks. Getting a little ahead of myself. Number 41 is resolution of the council in reference to the contract for pest control services is hereby awarded to Waltham Pest Services of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Funding from the general fund, $34,600 for the 3-year contract, and the sewer fund, $20,160, and the finance director is hereby authorized to execute said contract on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
A motion is second to pass.
So in the whole realm of shared facilities, we went out collectively with a public bid and then combining both schools and town in that. You have the town section in front of you. There was also a school section
Yep.
in front of that. Look, over we received 2 qualified bidders. They were within $1,000 of each another over a 3-year period. So that's a good sign. And we feel we have a very reputable company to take that over. The number for the town might seem like a lot, but there's 26 locations because we have all the pump stations and everything like that. So it's a good number.
Any questions about the pest control contract? Is this new?
Well,
So we have different vendors and we don't have a program. So that's what Ed's pulled together is again, it's Public Works was taking care of pump stations and we had someone here at Town Hall and the school department sort of on an emergency basis got somebody. So this pulled all of that together into a single vendor, a single contract with annual maintenance requirements.
It was all over the place. I don't mean in a bad way, but it was just all over the place.
Oh,
So we grabbed it all. Now, the good point is there's one phone call to make if anything's going wrong with pests, right? That's from the chair that I'm sitting in now or whoever's going to sit in there. It's very easy that when you have these systems in place, it's one phone call. We're dealing with one person, regardless of what building something's going wrong with.
Right, was there any type of savings realized bringing it all like under one or no?
You know what? It's tough to tell because I think as Sean stated, everything was kind of sitted separately. The school really had nothing actively in place. It was kind of an emergency basis, which is another problem with Department of Health going in there and everything. So there was nothing to base it on. Even when the bidders came in, they wanted the history of the past bids. There was no history of past bids. It was just pretty much, there was no bid before. It was just if something happens, call somebody, they can get there. And it was kind of scattered as to what people were doing.
So unless there's an issue, we don't call them or they're not.
No,
we're up
no,
to date?
every-
Is this where you see those plastic traps?
Well, we would hope we would be a little bit more proactive that in high areas where we have problems, you might see those. The contract is based on a monthly visit to all the municipality buildings. Anything after that are extra, if it's bees or ants or birds or anything is an extra charge. The school runs a little different because in August, September, October, that's when the Department of Health comes on. We need them there every other week. So it's on a frequency thing, but for the most part, it's every month they go there. You need to be proactive. If we're just gonna if it's gonna be approached when there's a problem, then you're gonna see a lot of those bait traps everywhere. That's probably not a good thing to look at. If we can stay on top of things on a monthly basis, hopefully we'll eliminate that and you won't even see the mitigation we're doing for pest control.
Yeah, and in my mind automatically went to those because you see them in different vendors at different places. You go to shops here and there, but
It
I didn't think about bees and birds and
There's
Those are
a bunch
protected
of
pests.
different things that
and
happen.
ants.
From my opinion, when you go there and you see all those plastic traps, it's a bad look.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we do a better job of being more proactive on things, we can hopefully eliminate all those things.
Okay. Any other conversation? Thank you, Ed. Okay, so we have a motion, a second to pass said resolution. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, let's move on to number 42, which is the memorandum of the fire chief and through the town administrator in reference to purchase of the Purvis Station Alerting System.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
We have a motion, a second to receive. All in favor? Aye, and we'll, if you would, please, we'll move to the resolution for discussion. Number 43 is a resolution of the council in reference to the purchase of the Purvis Station Alerting System is hereby awarded to Purvis Systems. Funding from the Rescue Wagon Special Revenue Fund, and the finance director is authorized hereby to execute said purchase on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to pass. Chief McCall.
So the Purvis Station Alerting System is basically takes the place of the notification of the firefighters in the station or outside the station in the event there's an emergency. When the station was built in 2015, the system that was put in was adequate, but the people that put it in are no longer around anymore. There's no replaceable parts for it or anything like that. And we've seen a decrease or actually increase in response times just because of the early notification. So when we changed over to our new computer-aided dispatch records management system last year with the state, we started looking at notification as well. So this new system, Purvis is a local company out of Middletown. They're over here in the industrial park. They do all of FDNY stations, a lot of metro areas, so they've been in the business for a while. Basically, what they're going to do is decrease our response times. I want to say it a little differently, but they're going to decrease our response time. Basically, it's an automated system. So as soon as 911 gets a call up in Situate, that call gets transferred down to us. Right now, the dispatcher has to pick up the phone, get all the information, figure that all out, and then notify the department. With this new system, as soon as the call comes in from 911, that information gets pushed into the CAD. It automatically puts out a tone and an alert of EMS call, a fire call, where it is and what the nature is. It's all automated. Then the dispatcher can then come in and fill in the extra information while we're already en route. So that's going to save us about 2 minutes of time of call to time of dispatch. And then the road time to get to the scene and everything else will be decreased. What this will also allow us to do is to have access to control the lighting in the station. So after hours right now, the lights are either on or off. So getting woken up at 2 a.m. and walking into a hallway of bright lights, it adds a little bit more to it. With this, it ramps up the lighting, it ramps up the tones. It makes it a little bit easier on the guys having to be woken up in the middle of the night and everything else. So there's some benefits with that. There's some better control with the system, better for notification. You can hear the system better. That's kind of the brief overview of the system as a whole.
So Rob, as technology continues to evolve, what is the life expectancy of a system like this?
Obviously as technology evolves, but it's 15 to 20 years. There'll be some add-ons to it that may have to come on, or as things more options come up or something like that, that may be it. But this system really looks to replace what we have existing right now into the future. One of the bigger things in going to the mobile data terminals in the trucks, so having the computers in the trucks, now this information can get put right onto the CAD. They can see hydrant locations. They can see in real time, aerial views of the property if we're going for a fire, if it's a medical call. And we can actually now use GPS for the 911 call takers and actually see an exact location. So if somebody out on Hanging Rock, the Chasm, something like that, we can actually now see with 911 where they really are. This system combined with the MDTs together will give us that information in the field. So there's a
That's
benefit to
wild.
that.
That's awesome. Think about 2 minutes I mean, a minute, 30 seconds could save, never mind 2 minutes, could save how many lives potentially that, or prevent further damage to somebody, whatever they're going through at the time.
Yeah,
Having said that, so this system, does it allow you to, you talked about add-ons, so when you look at a system, it has other features that can be added down the road? Is that what this does?
yeah. So right now, the system that's there is, it's a pretty neat system. I don't know what the future holds for the system in 2 years, what they're going to add to it. But I'm sure like with technology, as you progress, there's going to be new things that come out. But where it sits right now, unless something drastically new comes out, I wouldn't see a huge difference with anything else. Being able to just pinpoint a caller is going to be a game changer for us. I mean, that's big.
So is this part of the system, like if we're sitting in an affordable housing committee meeting or a beach committee meeting in the fire station, you hear that dispatch go out?
Yep.
Whatever it is, they say, 51-year-old man having a heart attack or whatever.
Yeah.
That's that system.
That's that system, exactly. So one of the bigger things, like you're in the station, you can kind of hear sometimes there's differences in the tones and things like that. That's
Yeah.
what we're experiencing right now. It's ramping up. We're not getting all the information right away. We have to repeat it. So that's some of the issues that we're dealing with. This looks to alleviate a lot of those
So
problems.
right from Situate, it downloads it, you guys are on your way, the dispatcher can fill in the blanks later.
Yeah, so real quick, a 911 call, when you call 911, it goes to Situate, goes to State Police Barracks. They triage that call and they figure out who it needs to go to. So there's a delay in that. It's not long, but 30 seconds to a minute. Then that call gets transferred down to us. Our dispatcher now has to take all that information from the 911 caller and redo all of that information, get it into the CAD, push it out. So there is some time. In fires, every 30 seconds, it's doubling. In EMS, it's, every minute is critical. So yeah, 2 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to make a big difference at the end of the day. And that's what this system is going to allow us to do. So as soon as they put it into their CAD and they realize this is a Middletown call, it gets dumped into our CAD, and the station alerting automatically converts that to a audio and pushes it out for us.
Awesome.
The other thing which is important is, especially at nighttime, if, depending on the call, you're not waking up the entire station. So when you're in that community room, that tone is throughout the entire station. The new system would direct the tone to where it needs to be rather than throughout the entire area. So it will allow firefighters to get more rest, and that's healthier, and it makes them.
I was just gonna say that it's a health and safety issue as well.
Yeah.
Because the tones ramp up, because they have found that there's a lot of long-term illnesses caused by that with firefighters working, that being woken up rapidly like that. But the other stuff on top of it is cool, and it cuts down dispatch, which is gonna cut down response time.
And the part with that, and like Sean was saying, is when we built the station, we looked at individual dorms because we were looking at firefighter rest cycles and everything else. The firefighters are working 24-hour shifts, sometimes longer. They need the rest. This system allows them to go into their bunk. They can put what apparatus they're assigned to. They'll put it in. If another apparatus is assigned to that call, they don't get that notification. The nice part with it, and the safety thing that I looked at, is every 24 hours, that system reverts back to an all call. So if you forget to do anything or whatever, that system automatically resorts and you're going to get notified about it. So you'll make the adjustment if you don't want to get notified about it. But
Sounds like they're getting soft, Rob.
it's the days
there
of
it
a
is.
single bunk room and everybody being together. Yeah, it's gotten a little different, but it's the health and safety thing is the biggest thing. And we want to be able to provide the service, get the guys out the door quicker. This is what is going to allow us to do that.
So it's a health and safety improvement for the firefighters being woken up at that, Peter, what you just spoke to. And it's also a benefit to whoever you're responding to or whatever you're responding to.
Yes.
That's
And it's-
awesome. So Sean, this was part of the budget, right?
It was part of last year's budget, so
Right.
it'll be continued over. So
Okay.
yes, this has been planned. Rob's been working with Ed Collins, had numerous meetings on it, because you'll see like the next, so part of the station, the key access system.
Yep.
These things are all sort of being coordinated together. So the key access system, the Purvis system, and then your next item is the digitizer. This is a total uplift of how the fire station operates in the dispatch center.
Okay, thank you. All
Part
right,
of this too is, the reason we're building it in with that is the door notification and things like that. We don't want to put the card access in and then have to put doorbells in because there's notification that somebody's at a door and things like that. So it's all kind of working together.
that's awesome. Okay. Further questions? Okay, so let's move on we have a motion, a second to pass said resolution for the Purvis system. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. Number 44 is a memorandum of the fire chief through the town administrator in reference to question, I think it's supposed to be request to replace existing digitized /AES system, equipment rather.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
Second.
Have a motion, a second to receive. All in favor? Aye. Let's move to the resolution. We'll have discussion. Number 45, resolution of the council in reference to the purchase of the digitized AES fire alarm system awarded to RB Allen Company, funding from the Rescue Wagon Special Revenue Fund, and the finance director is authorized hereby to execute said agreement, said purchase on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Chief.
So the digitized AES radio box system is basically every business that's required to be monitored by state fire code puts in this radio box. That radio box is what sends the signal to the fire department that says, hey, the fire alarm's going off. This equipment obviously is we need to replace it. It's a life safety thing. We're a couple cycles behind on replacement. I think we're using Windows Vista and some other things that we shouldn't be using with this, but we're kind of on borrowed time with this system. What this does is it brings the system up to, the current standards that we need to have. It takes the equipment that's currently sitting in dispatch. It can move it into a closet that is kind of out of dispatch. It's in a more protected area. And then it allows us to put computer monitors in dispatch so they can address the alarms as they come in. They can do everything else. But if there's a problem, we can move dispatch to another. We can move it down to the police department if we needed to. We can move it anywhere else. They can open up the computer and be up and running in no time. What this system does is, like I said, it receives the box or the alarm signal into the fire department. It deciphers it. They figure out what the zone is. So if it's a sprinkler flow, if it's a fire alarm, whatever it may be, they can decipher that. They figure out what apparatus need to get sent, and then they send the trucks out to the alarm.
So the current one, the 3505 has been outdated for 10 years?
Longer than that. We've been a few cycles behind replacement. So speaking with
Three cycles behind?
about 3 cycles behind. Talking with RB Allen, when they've come out, they can't get replacement parts for this anymore. They were able to kind of find other systems as they were being removed. They're running out of options with that. So we're kind of at a point where we have to upgrade the system. We got about 25 years, I think, out of this system before the upgrade. So kind of expecting the same thing, about probably 15 to 20 years out of this system.
Yeah, so is it, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the previous councils create an ordinance years back as to, so like St. George's, for example, we were getting so many false alarms from there that we created an ordinance where, after so many false alarms, you have to pay, they have to, whoever it is, whether it's St. George's or not. And that's what this system's about. Is that this system?
So that's what that system monitors at the end of the day. It's not what the system is about. So basically every year, if you have a radio box, you pay a subscription fee for us to monitor that radio box. So that covers the cost of repair and maintenance and things like that for the system. So that's really where that driving force from. The enforcement of false alarms and things like that is really kind of just to get people to maintain their system. So we're not having to go every day and reset it for them.
Okay.
But the fee schedule for that, for us to monitor it, is built into that, which is just increased too.
That's.
So we collect about $60,000 a year from businesses and others to monitor their alarms through this system. So Again, as Rob said, this current system is 20 to 25 years old. So it, from an amortization standpoint, it balances out.
Yeah,
It's just time to replace it.
okay. All right. Any further questions? Rob, thank you, Chief. Okay, so we have a motion, a second to pass said resolution. Is there any further discussion? Don't I just have one question? This is obviously budgeted.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because once the budget passes, whether it's carried over from the previous year or not, the capital stuff, whatever fund it comes out of, this one happens to be this Rescue Wagon Special Revenue Fund. These are planned. They're not just, hey, we're going to have a new council in 3 months. Let's get all the stuff in that we can now. I'm sure that goes through people's minds, and that's not what this is about. These are planned capital improvements. Having said that, we have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Number 46, memorandum of the town administrator in regards to purchase of demonstration rescue wagon.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
We have a motion, a second to receive. All in favor? Aye. And let's move to the resolution, which is number 47. Resolution of the council in reference to the purchase of a Ford F-550 diesel 4x4 Type 1 ambulance with associated equipment is hereby awarded to New England Fire Equipment and Apparatus Corporation. Funding for this vehicle is from a 5-year lease purchase, and the debt service payments will be funded from the Rescue Wagon Special Revenue Fund, and the finance director is authorized hereby to execute said purchase on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
Okay, so discussion. Tonight's Chief McCall and the Fire Department night. So. let's
Wasn't
talk-
planning on spending August. like
But
this.
you mind talking about how many rescue wagons we have and what this is gonna do?
Sure. Yep.
Because it's important that there's a little history here.
Yeah, so, again, Middletown Fire Department staffs 2 ALS rescues, Advanced Life Support Rescues, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That was an increase that happened back in 2019, where we added the second rescue to kind of fill the need of the increase in call volume and everything else. So right now, Middletown, we run 2 engine companies, 2 rescue companies, and we cross-staff 2 other apparatus. The rescue wagons account for about 3,600 calls, 3,200 calls a year, I believe, out of our 4,400 calls that we do. EMS is about 75 to 80% of what a typical fire department does. What we've seen over the past 5 or 6 years is an increase in call volume on the EMS side, which put an kind of new burden on those 2 trucks. They're running constantly. And we have the ability to have a reserve, which is a 2010 Chevy, which was part of a upgrade we did in 2009 that we're running as a reserve. Currently, that reserve truck is running as a frontline truck and has been running now for a little while, which has led me to be where I am at today. So that's kind of the brief overview of the Middletown Rescue Wagon as a whole. This is the new system that we just put in for the CAD, by the way. So I'm getting alerted that there's a call. So it's technology. So what we found right now is one of the rescues we have is not reliable. It's not, we can't keep it in service. It's been having electrical issues. Right now, it's been out of service now for 3 weeks. We sent it out again to have it gone through. Ford can't tell us what's wrong with it. Greenwood can't tell us what's wrong with it. We just keep going through this cycle of having to repair it. So that's kind of where we're at. We don't have a reserve ambulance in service right now. So we have to borrow if we need another one.
Typically, it takes how long to get a rescue wagon? Because that's important to know why we're moving on this now.
Yeah, so right now, the time frame is about 2 to 3 years to get a rescue from start to finish. So finding a vendor, starting the process. Right now, they're saying 28 months is what we should be expecting if we had to order something.
Question.
And this is, and sorry.
Chief, when it says demonstration ambulance, does that mean it's on the lot or something? Like, what does that mean?
So what a lot of companies do, the vendors that come out and they purchase these ambulances ahead of time. They have them brought into their company from the vendor that they're purchasing from, and they show them off. So
Yep.
in Rhode Island, they'll drive it around. This is what we can offer you. These are the options. And after a month or two goes by, they'll sell it off. This one just came in to be shown as a demonstration, and they're willing to sell it. So that's where we ended up where we at.
Floor model.
What's that?
It's the floor model.
I'm going to be honest with you. I see this as the future with ambulances.
Yeah, yeah.
I really think when you're getting into specking and everything else, there's very limited specking you can do on these trucks now. I think you're going to start to see people just go into the lot and buying them.
I think the big thing, and this is what we finally accomplished with the pumpers, we have the two primary pumpers and we have the two spares. So when something's out, we're able to put the secondary engine in service. There's no disruption. We're not out begging for vehicles from Newport, Jamestown, Portsmouth, Tiverton. But we haven't made the same switch with the rescue wagons. We've operated really, when I thought about it, so as long as I've been here, with two primary rescues, one backup. Thinking about it further, rescue wagons have been problematic. We had bought two rescue wagons about 15 years ago. The turbos failed at them at the same time. We had to, sort of do an emergency purchase to replace those, but we haven't really, from a risk management standpoint, especially based on, whatever 80-90% of our business is running those rescue wagons, is made sure we have two primary vehicles, two backup vehicles. So what the chief and I discussed is, I think we were thinking we would be able to limp along and get to February when the new rescues are coming in. And we are now at a point where we are borrowing a rescue wagon all the time, which is, we have a responsibility to provide our own rescue wagons. It's also unfair to the other communities because now we've put them at risk because they don't have their spare. What we're able to do is, if we can purchase this vehicle, is, the two primary vehicle, we'll have a vehicle in service that's reliable. So that's what we don't have. And that can happen immediately because it is a floor model. The second thing is, we'll have the two rescues come in February, which will become the primary vehicles. This will become a secondary vehicle. And what the plan would be is to take the better of the two vehicles that we have right now, either get it refurbished or buy a new chassis and have the back put on the new chassis. So then we would have basically a new, two really new trucks as secondary vehicles, two new vehicles in the front. And then with our book of business, we basically have the proper fleet, the proper risk management to provide safety services. I think this council, what it's learned is we can't, because of the lead times on these vehicles, we have to order them sooner to make sure we have dependable vehicles in the fleet. But I think part of tonight's discussion not only is addressing the need for something reliable today, but also upgrading the fleet. So again, we have those two primary vehicles, two secondary vehicles to provide life safety services to the residents. And this purchase is a good way to get us there, as we move through the upcoming months. And again, await for the two new vehicles to come in.
I looked at refurb, remount, things like that. The problem is I can't lay up a truck for another 6 to 8 months to get it furbed and put back in service. So that's some of the issues that we're facing. Like Sean was saying, the end goal would be get the two new trucks in, move the other truck to reserve, send this other truck out to get refurbed properly, have it done, and then brought back. I think is the end result.
I think this is a great opportunity, and the reason I'm curious, the price tag is nuts. Now I think about, spec and rescues before, and the costs have just been exploding, right? So think about, you said 28 months, if you were to order plus the spec time and everything else, what would that cost by the time you actually received it? So even though it seems like it's a lot of money, it's actually the smarter fiscal move, so.
Good question.
Charlie.
The two new rescue wagons, we're leasing them, correct? Are we leasing them?
Yeah, so it's a lease purchase agreement. So we leased it's a $1 buyout at the end.
So will that help us, like, if something goes wrong with it, like covered under some kind of lease warranty or something like that, or it doesn't work the same way as like when you lease a car?
It doesn't work the same way. We do have warranties and things like that that are associated from the vendor that assembles these vehicles. But the lease financing is more. So when we put the capital improvement program together, we look at what the needs are for the 5-year period. And for like the rescue wagon, where we're getting more than 5 years of life out of it, then we're using the lease purchase just to manage cash, basically. Because
Okay.
we can do that with with a municipal borrowing instead of a commercial borrowing. So
Yep.
that's how we do that. So for instance, one of the things that we look at long-term, the elephant in the fire department is a ladder truck. We're going to come up on 15, 20 years here shortly. Ladder trucks, $2.7 million. So we're trying to accumulate, you know what I mean? We're constantly, this is probably the one department where we've gotten really good at it with this and the police cars is, police cars we buy outright because they don't have a lot of life. But for the apparatus at the fire department is planning out that cash flow and just unfortunately have to finance them at times to match the cash flow that we get from the proceeds from the rescue wagon fund.
So what's the warranty on this thing? Is there a warranty? So I'm sure it's not the same warranty from a new one, right? Because it's a
No,
demonstration.
It's pretty spot on new warranty. I can verify all that stuff because it's we've been even working today trying to get all the stuff together. But it's basically a brand new truck. So the warranty that the vendor who manufactured the truck is going to be there. The Ford warranty from the Ford manufacturer's there. So all the normal warranties are still there.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, like I said, this truck is just bent, so the mileage on it is very low. There's really no mileage on it. Warwick Fire did the same thing. Providence Fire has done the same thing. So as these trucks come in, they're just buying them. So it seems to be the way it's going.
So the information we have in our docket says, once the agreement's approval or agreement is, you'll have it with it potentially within 60 days?
Probably sooner than that. So all they have to do is just leather the truck itself and then install the Striker power load lift. Once that's done, we can take the truck.
And it has everything you need.
Yes, everything. I went through the compartments with the spec that we just did. Compartments are actually pretty close to what we spec. There's a few little differences here and there, but I did go through and make sure that the equipment we carry would go onto this truck with no issues. All of that matches up.
So you've seen the vehicle?
The video?
The vehicle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I haven't personally seen it, but they showed me the video and the pictures of it, and then gave me the spec drawings for it.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. So don't bring up that ladder truck, please. It makes me nervous.
Ladder truck makes me nervous too.
Huh?
So, but we have a plan. I think that's the main thing. And I think it's a good demonstration that we plan these things out so that they're not
understand.
emergencies.
I understand.
I go back to the beginning when we didn't have a rescue wagon fund and
Oh, I know.
we had no fire trucks that were less than 20 years old. It's, and I hate to say it because the Rescue Wagon Association that the firefighters still run, I don't think the town remembers just how lucky we were that they were raising money, but, it became more and more difficult and,
Yeah.
yeah, when I got here in 2000, I don't think we had a pumper we had one pumper that was, could pass the inspection. They do a good job over there. They do a good job maintaining the vehicles. And I think we've learned a lot in what we spec, what we need. And I think that's evidence that the two new pumpers that we have, knock on wood, have been extraordinary. They are workhorses and they're, servicing the community well. I think this is an opportunity to right-size the fleet. I think that's the big thing. I think if I was the chief, I'd want the two primary and the two backup. We have the space at the fire department when we made sure there was enough space for extra vehicles. And, this is a way to keep responding and, getting people to the hospital as quick as we can. And that's another piece. The rescue wagons just don't go to Newport anymore because I'm required by charter to be notified if a fire apparatus goes out of town. And You know,
They go to Charlton, they go,
three-man transport Charlton. I get that text 2 or 3 days a week, I mean, a day. It's a couple times, it's a daily occurrence. And then with, with the urgent care centers, kids that are at the pediatrics, they're going to Hasbro. It's a constant. There's a lot of wear and tear on these vehicles, so.
And having a reliable reserve, when it does go to Charlton, if we have the staffing, we can put a second rescue back in service. So that's another benefit that we have.
and now we have the manpower to be able, and woman power to be able to do that.
We have the firefighter power to
Correct.
accomplish those missions.
Thank you for
Yeah.
correcting me.
Oh,
I caught myself when I tried to correct it the right way, but I failed, so thank you.
I was very gender heavy when I
Thank you,
initial
sir, yes.
response, but,
I appreciate it, chief. So Sean, this special revenue fund, is that where, the insurance money comes in?
Correct. Yep, the proceeds from the rescue wagon.
Can you explain that? I want to make sure residents are aware of that and
Yep.
kind of what that generates.
So, a long, long time ago, after a couple years of talking to the council, we established a fund where the proceeds from the rescue wagons come into a special revenue fund, similar to what you did for the school zone fines this evening. And the money accumulates there, and it's restricted. It was originally restricted just for fire department apparatus. Under Chief Martin at the time, we expanded that to include police cars. And so basically, we are able to maintain our public safety fleet, including the ladder truck, through the fees that are generated from the rescue wagon fees that are paid by Medicare and insurance companies when someone utilizes the rescue wagon. At times, people have said, well, that, costs me money. Residents, and there's no out-of-pocket cost for residents. So if your Blue Cross doesn't pay for your ride to the hospital, we don't send you a bill and say you need to pay. Non-residents would receive a bill. But basically, it's built into your insurance premium, whether you use it or not. It's something that you pay for. Basically Sharon, at the fire department manages that, and the firefighters. The firefighters, when you are in the rescue wagon, will fill out reports. Those go to Sharon, they go to a medical billing company. And then, we process those payments as they come in. Mark in the finance office will review the revenue stream annually and adjust the rates to reflect changes in what communities are reimbursed for the different kind of runs, whether it's a basic run, an advanced run with special, whether you are, in intubation or other kind of specialty drugs that might be administered. But I think, to the best of my knowledge, I think we might be the only community in the state that restricts those dollars so that when equipment has to be replaced, it's not on the tax rate. It's paid for by the fees that are generated from the work that's done. So it
Yeah,
works
and
out
that
very
was
well.
my point of having you explain that, because that's important. A lot of those fees cover the capital costs, and that was by design. When Sean came to us, and I don't know, it was probably 15 years ago, I forget what council it was, but when he said to us, hey, look, they're paying those fees anyway, and we're not receiving the benefit. I don't know if it was the insurance company was at the time. Hey, and we made sure that the residents, if they did get a bill and they were transported, it said, this is not a bill. So that they weren't, some of those bills were $700-800 back then. Never mind what they are now. So that money goes into that special revenue fund for capital replacement of vehicles to help offset those costs, which is important. So, so look, at the end of the day, we've made, the council and the town has made significant investments in our fire department. It starts with our team, your team, which is critical. You're going to have the manpower. You came a few years back and said, we need this to be able to use as much mutual aid, and our response time to our residents and even non-residents could be much better, and it is. You can't do it without great people and a great team led by you. So we thank you for that, but also you have to have the equipment to be able to do the job. You can have the best team in the world, which I think you do. However, you also have to have best equipment. My first 2 years on the council in 1998, didn't know anything, thought I did. going through budgets, and there was a line item, I'll never forget, this is the truth. It was $15,000 for training for firefighters. And I was bitching up and down about why we needed that, and I was against it. And so the rest of the council basically told me to shut up, and it was approved, which I seen that afterwards why. Mr. Taddy, who lived on the corner of West Main Road and Colony Drive, where the Caseys live now, he used to come and complain all the time. And he was up at where you're standing one day, and I sat right where Charlie sits on the end seat my first 2 years, 98 to 2000. And Mr. Taddy's going up and down and whatever he was talking about the time, and I was going through my papers trying to keep up with him. And I was going like this, I heard a thump. Mr. Taddy hit the ground and was turning purple. That fire department was here because of that training and that line item budget he received. They saved his life. At that point in time, I realized you never mess around with fire and police or protective services, or emergency services. So I think to your point, you're looking at a lot of money spent tonight on digitized systems and equipment or whatever. You have to have those. I learned that lesson, taught myself the hard way, from what I experienced, but I'll tell you what, it saved a life. That particular train, that 15,000, never mind these systems today, it's a lot more expensive, but I figured I'd just share that story because it's important when you learn lessons and those things stick in the back of your mind down the road, that when you see something come up, if it's reasonable, it makes sense, that's what you do. Because you're protecting 17,000 people. Never mind the non-residents and the visitors that we have, so that's important. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for what you do. Sorry for the long discussion, but let's move on the resolution. So we have a motion and a second to approve said resolution. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Good luck with that.
Thank you. And all the firefighters, thank you. So, thank you.
Well, we thank them. Let's move to, I believe we're on 48. And look, that takes a little bit of time, those discussions, but they're worthwhile explaining them. So having said that, number 48 is the memorandum of the finance director to the town administrator in reference to the Munis Human Resources Implementation Change Order Request.
Motion to receive said memorandum.
Have a motion and a second to receive. All in favor? Aye. And let's move to the resolution. We'll have discussion number 49. Resolution of the council in reference to the town has successfully implemented the general ledger phase of Munis implementation and has commenced the implementation of the human resources and payroll modules. The payroll module and employee self-service portals are now scheduled to go live on January 1st, 2027. It has been determined, that an additional 25 consulting days are required to finalize the payroll and employee portal configuration for both the town and the school department. Funding for this change order will be funded from the public-private venture special revenue fund, or what we refer to the PPV fund, and the finance director is authorized hereby to execute said change order on behalf of the town.
Motion to pass said resolution.
Second.
Okay. Mark, if you could explain what's going on here.
Yes. The HR implementation has been taking a little longer than expected. I believe the original timeline and the time budget was incorrect. We're dealing with town and school. We're implementing for over 600 employees. We have 5 unions with the town. We have non-classifieds. We have individual contracts. The school has 3 unions. Many individual contracts for clerks and admin. We've been doing 2 to 3 days every other week, and each day is 8 hours. We haven't lost a step. For the town side, we're running parallel payrolls right now. We're still correcting items. The school will be doing parallel payrolls in August. So they're very close to running these, but it takes time. We've been doing parallels on the town side for 3 months.
So what does parallels mean?
Parallels
Highlight
means
me,
you
'cause
take
I
the
don't-
current system that you process payroll with, you do your normal payroll, because that's where it goes. You take that information and you put it into the new system. and you see if that's processing it the same way. Then you fix the items that need to be corrected. So parallels are very important. That helps you know if the system is being set up correctly. It's very important that we set it up correctly and not rush the implementation. We were debating whether or not to try to go live earlier, but I consulted with Newport, who implemented this system as well, and they highly said, you do it at the beginning of the year. It just makes everything easier. You don't have to get all the information that you process payroll during the calendar year into the new system. All the rounding that needs to take place, they spend a lot of time importing of current payroll information. But this, I believe, the original budget did not give us enough hours. And it's a lot of work. So I do request that you approve this change order. And as you said, it is would be funded from the public venture special revenue fund, like the entire project was.
Okay. Any councils have any questions? So when would this, from a timeline, Mark, and maybe I missed it, from a timeline, when would this be, what would the additional 25 days get you, and when would it be implemented?
So we are going to implement January 1st.
So that includes the
So
additional,
that is correct.
okay,
That is correct.
okay.
So it's about 2 to 3 days every other week. So it does get us to the implementation date.
And how does this improve the payroll system?
Well, right now, we use ADP.
That's what's important to know.
It's very important, and I'm glad you brought that up. There's a lot of improvements that are going to happen. Right now, when someone requests time off, it's done by paper, at least for town hall employees. The fire department has their own system, police have their own system, and the school has their own system. Police, fire, and school will still be using their systems. We'll be taking that information and importing it into this system to help process payroll. On the town side, people will be able to request the time off within the system. People will be able to see what their leave balances are, where right now they can't see it. When we process payroll on their check stub, we're going to actually show them what the total cost is for that employee, where right now they don't know what the town pays for their health insurance, what the town pays for any other benefits, the pension benefits that they get. So it's really going to be very transparent and really show the employees what they really are worth.
So it's kind of like at my job, we have a system called Workday. And, you can pull you log in and, you go through 18 modules of security, and then you get to your profile,
Yes.
where you can see what
Yep.
what your current benefits are, what your contribution is, what the company's contribution is, with
Yep.
this current pay period for the year to date, all the information's right there. All benefit stuff, you want to change it, you can go in and change it.
Yep.
Um,
Self-serving.
if you say you want to up your 401k contribution, I don't know, we do, maybe private companies do a little bit different than municipalities, but they have that ability to do that. Hey, I want to take it from 4% to 5%. I just got an increase, or something changed in your life where you're able to do that, that kind of stuff. Obviously, healthy things only typically done during open enrollment unless there's a change of life.
Health insurance.
Yeah, right,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Event, change of life event.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Just a couple other items. So one of the big things is the town and school will be on the same system. So generating reports and data related to town and school employees can be done 1,000 times easier. The other thing is, from a budgeting standpoint, the town, we use external sheets to budget payroll, but we'll be able to do that through the payroll system. We'll basically be able to build budgets, do what-if analysis without having to use a spreadsheet or some other separate database. So that will be probably one of the biggest time savers for Mark and the finance office, is being able to to generate those payroll estimates from Munis within this module compared to what we've done for the past 27 years. So.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Mark, thank you. Is there
Thank
any
you.
further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? And before we adjourn, Kim, the word I was trying to get out to you earlier was generational. Generational decisions. And I kept coming up with generalization. I don't know why, but that's where my mind was. Tom,
Motion adjourned.
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Have a good night, everyone.